Hey, what's up guys? Okay, so a few days ago on my community post, I posted up a poll asking you guys which of these three captains from Black Clover do you think are the strongest? And the reason why I asked that was because I was planning on making this video right here. We're going to be taking each of the captains from Black Clover and ranking them from weakest to strongest based on their post timeskip versions. And you guys made it pretty clear which captain you thought was actually the strongest out of those three and which one was actually the weakest. Now before I actually jump into the list, I do want to mention two things. One, this is just my personal list. This is how I rank the captains personally. If you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear exactly how you guys would rank the captains. And two, I'm not going to be including any former captains in this ranking. So I'm not going to be including Aesir, Julius, or Godair. But I will be including Leona just because of the fact that while it seems like she is a former captain, based on the anime continuity, which is still in line with the manga, it seems like her and Fugoyan are sharing co-captain responsibilities to their squad. So because of that, I do think she actually fits on being on this list. Anyway, jumping right into the list, starting at the number 10 spot, I think this kind of goes without saying, but obviously the number 10 spot goes to Kaiser. He's definitely obviously the weakest character or the weakest captain out of all of them. I mean, the guy was the only one who was not involved in the raid on Spade Kingdom. I mean, sure, Yami and William were there because they were kidnapped, but still, they were at least still involved in there. Kaiser was completely absent from the entire thing, and we only saw him for a brief moment when he was fighting against the great demon that was attacking the Clover Kingdom. And even then, he didn't really do anything. He was pretty easily defeated. So I think it's pretty safe to say that when it comes to the characters, which by the way, not to throw the guy under the bus or anything like that, he's strong enough, he's strong enough obviously to be captain, and if we were ranking them based on their defense abilities, he would obviously be the highest ranking one. But when it comes to attack power and strength, he obviously ranks the weakest out of all of them. Then going on to the number 9 spot, and I feel like this is actually going to surprise a lot of you out there, but honestly, I'm going to put Nozel in this spot. And the reason for that is because if we're talking 3 timeskip Nozel, I'm definitely putting him into like the top 5 easily. But post timeskip Nozel, we haven't really seen anything from him to indicate that he's gotten any stronger. We haven't seen any new spells, any new abilities, new power up or new transformation. None of that in this last arc. The only things we got to see was him basically using the same kind of spells that we saw him using pre-timeskip, and then him getting his ass kicked by Lucifero pretty easily, which to his credit, all the captains did. But I kind of feel like Nozel got the worst treatment out of all the captains during that fight, and like I said, nothing that we saw from him during this arc kind of indicates that he's gotten any stronger. So because of that, I gotta put him this low down on the list, just above Kaiser, because all the other captains kind of proved to me that they've developed in some way post a time skip while he hasn't. And then going up to the number 8 spot and kind of throwing out what I just said about Nozel, because basically I feel the same way about this captain I did for Nozel, and that is Fugoyan. I gotta put Fugoyan right here in the number 8 spot. And the reason for that is because, just like how I said about Nozel, I kind of feel like Fugoyan didn't show us anything to indicate that he's gotten any stronger post a time skip. I mean, we saw him do a lot more than we saw Nozel do. We saw him actually take out a bunch of devils, like low ranked devils, but still a bunch of devils. That's the reason why I'm putting him above Nozel, and also obviously Salamander gives him like a slight edge over him. But when it comes down to it, we didn't get to see any of the things I was hoping to see from this character, like any new spells, any new power-ups, any new abilities, and any kind of transformations. We didn't get to see any of that from Fugoyan, and anything to indicate that he's gotten any stronger post this time skip. And I mean, you could argue, like I said, that him taking out all those low-ranking devils was kind of a show of his power-up, but I kind of feel like he would have been able to do that pre-time skip as well. So because of that, I'm going to have to put him in the number 8 spot, just above Nozel. Again, only give him the slight edge because of the fact that he has Salamander. And then coming in at the number 7 spot, and this is actually where it started to get hard for me to place certain captains in certain orders, but I kind of feel like based on what we saw from him in the post-time skip era, I gotta give this spot to William. And the reason for that is because even though just like Nozel and Fugoyan, we didn't really get to see any new power-ups or new abilities from him or a new transformation, I was really impressed with how well he did against Xenon. I mean, sure, at the end of the day, he ended up getting kidnapped by Xenon without even pushing him to 50%, but I feel like the reason why that happened was because he was splitting his attention between fighting Xenon and trying to revive/protect his squad. If he was able to focus solely on fighting against Xenon, I feel like the William that we saw, or the William that we heard about from would have been able to push Xenon all the way up to 50% and then get kidnapped. Then moving up to the number 6 spot, I gotta put Jack the Ripper here. I mean, I know based on that poll, a lot of you guys thought that Jack the Ripper would definitely be stronger than Real, but I really can't say that because the only thing we got to see new from Jack in this arc was that brand new. It's hard to say if it was a transformation or if it's like its monozone or something like that, but that ability that we got to see him use against Dante ultimately wasn't really all that impressive. I mean, yeah, it was a lot stronger, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that great of a move. And I definitely think that all the other characters I'm going to place above him shown either post-time skip or pre-time skip that they actually have a lot more range in their abilities and a lot more strength behind their abilities than Jack did with that move. Now, it's hard to say that because Jack is obviously Yami's main rival, so it's hard to place him in such a low spot compared to where I'm going to end up placing Yami, but based on what we saw from him post-time skip, I gotta say, I definitely think that Jack is definitely lower ranking, not even in the top 5. Then coming in at the number 5 spot, I have to put Charlotte here. It was kind of hard for me to place exactly where I wanted to put her in real, but when it came down to it, I had to place her at number 5 just because of the fact that even though her brand new transformation that we got from this arc definitely is a lot stronger than any other movie we got to see from her, so we definitely seen her improve from the 6-month training. Unfortunately, her new transformation and her new abilities rely heavily on curses, which means that if her opponent doesn't have any curses on them, it's kind of limited in what it could do. I mean, sure, it's definitely still a lot stronger, it's still definitely a power boost for her, but the main gimmick of that ability is absorbing curses. And if her opponent or the people around her don't have curses, then there's kind of a cap on exactly how much stronger she can get. And then, like I said, coming in at the number 4 spot is obviously Real, and the reason why I'm placing him above Charlotte is simply because of the fact that his Valhalla spell is just simply broken. I mean, the ability to make himself pretty much immortal for a few minutes, and on top of that, he gets a huge boost in power. That's kind of broken. That's extremely broken. I mean, sure, it has a huge major drawback to it, but as long as Real doesn't take too much damage during his fight, it's pretty much null and void. Then finally, getting to the top 3, coming in the 3rd spot is Dorothy, and even though the same things I said about Fugoyan and Nozel kind of apply to her as well for this arc, when it comes down to it, her dream magic is just simply that broken. I mean, sure, we really didn't get to see much of it from this arc, and it was kind of easily broken with the opponents that she fought against in this arc, but you gotta remember who she fought against during the arc on screen. I mean, off screen we know she fought against some Dark Apostles, and obviously she pretty easily defeated them. But on screen we only saw her fight against Lucifero and a character who had Lucifero's magic running through him. So because of that, I kind of feel like we gotta give her a pass on that one. And you guys might be calling me biased or whatnot, but I just gotta think that her dream magic and being able to trap people in her dream dimension is simply just broken. Then coming in second is my boy Yami, and honestly, if we're talking the Yami from the beginning of the post-time skip era, I probably would have put him in like the 5th spot just under Charlotte, just because we got to see a lot from him during the 6 months of training or after 6 months of training when he was fighting against Dante, but he wasn't able to defeat Dante by himself. But at the ending of this arc, when he got the boost from the Devil Mana running through him, that gave him enough of a boost to basically skyrocket him all the way up to the 2nd spot, because he was the only one out of all the captains, besides the number 1 spot, who you guys know who that's going to, he was the only one of the captains who was able to basically go toe to toe and throw the hands with Lucifero. So because of that, I feel like he has to be the one to jump up to the number 2 spot. And then honestly, coming in 1st place is my girl, Leona, the strongest out of all the captains in my personal opinion, and I think that's pretty much the opinion that every single person who reads Black Clover has, because I mean, let's look at what she did. Her Hellfire Incarnate mode was just boss this entire arc. She was able to take down a great ancient demon by herself, no help from anyone else, just by herself. She took that thing on. Her Hellfire Incarnate mode makes her get stronger and stronger the longer she fights, and when it comes down to it, out of all the captains, even without having to rely on Real's Valhalla spell to give her a boost, she was the only one able to throw the hands with Lucifero as long as she did. And the only reason why he defeated her was because she got momentarily distracted by her own body because of how strong she had gotten, turning into pure mana. So obviously because of that, I gotta give her the number 1 spot out of all the captains. But anyway guys, that is my list for the ranking of the captains from weakest to strongest. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would rank the captains, in what order. But that's it for the video guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.